Solving two-step equations, part 6. In today's lesson, students will solve two-step equations where they divide both sides by the negative coefficient. They divide by what? Very good. So now you know how to solve two-step equations with integers, okay? But what we haven't yet seen is negative terms in the equation. A negative term. So I don't know if you remember what a term is, so let's go ahead and write it down. It says when the term is negative. Okay, so a term is simply going to have a coefficient and a variable. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let's say the term is negative 2x. Okay, so the term is the married couple. Yeah? It's whatever in the equation is going to have the coefficient attached to x. Okay, it means they're being multiplied. So this is a term. All right, so the term is negative 2x. Usually we've been seeing it as positive 2x, but today we're going to learn about negative terms. So when it is negative, and remember these are being multiplied because they're married, you have to do the opposite. So what's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. Okay, so you want to divide both sides by the, this is going to be two words here. It's going to be negative coefficient. Coefficient. Or another word for coefficient is number. Another word for coefficient is what? Number, okay? So you're going to divide by the negative number that is touching x. So I'll give you an example, okay? So here's your example. If at the end of your equation, okay, once you've made the t and you've either added or subtracted to both sides, you end up with, let's say, negative 2x equals negative 8. It's asking you what number times a negative 2 would give you negative 8. Well, you know that Mr. 2, he's a negative man, okay? Miss X, she has had it with him. She's done. She wants to get rid of him. She doesn't like negative people, okay? So what does she want to do? She wants to divorce him, yeah? So you're going to divide both sides. Let me write this in black. Okay, this is a division bar. You're going to divide both sides by the negative coefficient. What is the negative coefficient? I'm pointing to it. What is it? The negative coefficient is what? It's negative 2, right? That's the negative number. So you make sure that you're dividing by a negative 2, okay? And then it becomes very simple because a negative 2 divided by a negative 2, any number divided by itself is 1, yeah? Okay? So you're going to be left with x equals. In this situation, when you're dividing integers, who do you use? Who is this? This is Bob's cousin, yes? Now, he tells you that a negative divided by a negative is positive. Okay, so in this situation, I want you to circle the positive. Okay, circle it. Because it's telling you negative, like negative 8, divided by a negative, like negative 2. What's that going to give you? What kind of an answer? What kind of an answer? It's going to give you a positive answer, right? And I gave you a simple one. Okay, negative 8 divided by negative 2. Skip count by 2. 2, 4. Skip count. 2, 4, 6, 8. Bam. So the answer is going to be positive 4 here. Okay? Go ahead and get that down. So let's read the first example together. You ready? It says, negative 4x plus 11 equals a negative 5. Okay, so you're going to solve this equation like you solve any equation. The first step is to draw a T to separate both sides of the equation. Okay. Now, I want you know how the next thing we do is we circle x? Okay. From now on, I'm going to say circle the term. What is the term? The term is negative 4x, right? Circle the term, because this is what you're getting by itself, okay? You're getting it on one side of the t. Look at the number next to the term. It's positive 11. What is the opposite of positive 11? It is negative 11. So I say subtract 11 from both sides. Now we'll do the operations. A positive 11 and a negative 11 make 0. Okay? Bring down negative 4x. Okay, so negative 4 is the coefficient. X is the variable. They're touching because they're married. Now, we need to do the operations on this side. These are integers, right? Do they have the same sign or different signs? What do they have? Same signs, right? They're both negative. So you say same signs, add and keep. So you're going to add these two numbers together, but you're going to keep their negative sign. 11 plus 5 is going to be what? It's going to be, what's 11 plus 5? Anybody? 11 plus 5? I'm not going to tell you. What is it? It's 16. Very good. Okay. Okay, I have a question. Do you have a negative coefficient? Yes? Okay, so what are you going to do to both sides to try and get Miss X to be a single lady? She wants to get a divorce, right? What do you have to do to both sides? You have to do what? Divide both sides by, not 4, negative 4. That's right. So you're going to divide both sides by a negative 4. Okay. So a negative 4 divided by a negative 4 is 1, because any number divided by itself is 1. Now let's find out what is x. Okay. So this says negative 16 divided by negative 4. We are dividing integers, so we're going to use what? We're going to use Bob's cousin. And he says to you, draw this. He says, a negative divided by a negative is positive. Okay? Circle that positive mouth. Positive. All right. So, okay. So just do the division part. You know, we're really talking about 16 divided by 4. We skip count by 4. We say 4, 8, 12, 16. So the answer is going to be a positive what? How many times did I skip count by 4? It will be a positive 4. Okay? So box your answer, and you do not have to check because you're working with integers. Read example 2 with me. It says negative 7 minus 2x equals negative 25. Now what is different about this equation? What is different? Does it start with the term or does it start with a number? Starts with a number, right? Starts with negative 7 instead of negative 2x. But we're going to solve this equation the same way we solve everything, is we're going to draw a t first. Draw a t. Okay. Now, it'll be very important that you know how to circle the term. What's the term? What is the term? It's negative 2x, right? So please circle that. Okay. Now you look at the number that's next to the term. The number or the integer is negative 7. And you ask, what is the opposite of negative 7? It is positive 7. So you're going to add 7. Make sure you put the 7 under the 7, not under the 2x. Okay? You're going to add 7 to both sides. All right. And then we do the operations. We say a negative 7 and a positive 7 make 0. Bring down the negative 2x, okay? The coefficient is negative 2. What is it? Negative 2. The variable is x. Okay, so here, I'm going to ask you a question. We have a negative 25 and a positive 7. Do they have the same signs or different signs? They have different signs, right? Different. Yeah? Positive and negative. So you say, different signs, subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. Okay, so we're going to subtract. A lot of you always forget how to regroup. How to what? Regroup. Okay, if I try and take 7 from 5 in the ones place, can you do that? No, you cannot take 7 from 5. So what we have to do, again, we're subtracting. We're pretending that 25 is positive. We're going to subtract. We're going to More on the floor, go next door and grab 110. That's 10 ones more. So now we're working with 15, take away 7. We're going to count backwards. We're going to say 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. And now this is a 1. Okay? So now this is 18. Now this says negative 2x equals 18. How do we figure out what x is? It says, what number times negative 2 gives you a positive 18? What do we have to do to both sides of this equation? We have to divide by what? We have to divide by the negative coefficient. The what? The negative coefficient. So you divide both sides by negative 2. Okay. Now in this situation, we have something a little bit different. Okay, negative 2 divided by negative 2, any number divided by itself is 1. Let's find out what x is. Okay, so Bob's cousin says either that a negative divided by negative is positive, or you go this way too. A positive divided by a negative is, and circle this I, negative, right? Okay, so the answer, again, positive divided by a negative is negative. You're going to write the answer as negative. Okay, so you have your sign. What is 18 divided by 2? We have 18 divided by 2. We skip count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. How many tallies is that? 5 plus 4 is 9. So the answer is x equals negative 9. Go ahead and get that down. Okay, let's solve the last equation together. Read it with me. It says 6 minus 3x equals a negative 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw our t. What comes next? What do you have to circle? What do you have to circle? Do you circle 6 or negative 3x? You circle the term, right? You circle negative 3x. This lets you know you're trying to get this by itself. So let's look at the number next to it. Very tricky, okay? What number is this? It's positive 6 or negative 6? It's positive, right? So I'm going to write this positive here, even though it wasn't there. This is a positive 6. What is the opposite of positive 6? Negative 6. So we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. Very good. Okay, so a positive 6 and a negative 6 make 0. Bring down negative 3x. Okay, that's our term. And it's saying negative 3x equals. Okay, negative 3 and negative 6, same signs or different signs? They have the same sign. So what are you going to do to these two numbers? Same signs, add. You're going to add them and keep the negative. Okay, keep the negative. All right. So what is a negative 3 and a negative 6 together? They make negative what? Add them. 6 plus 3. Negative 9, that's right. Okay, negative 9. This is now saying to you, what number times negative 3 gives you negative 9? Think about it. What is x? What do you think x is? 3? Yes. But you have to be able to get rid of negative 3 by dividing both sides by what? What are you dividing both sides by? If you want to get rid of it, you have to divide by it. So you're dividing by a negative 3. Okay. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. So now we can get x by itself. All right. Okay, you have a negative 9 divided by negative 3. Are you dividing integers? Are you? Who helps you to divide integers? Who's this? This is Bob. And he says to you that a negative, draw this, divided by a negative is positive. Okay. Whenever you have two negatives, okay, or you're working with the same signs, when you divide, your answer is positive. So the answer is going to be positive. We circled his mouth, right? It's positive. Negative divided by negative is positive. But now we have to do 9 divided by 3. Okay. So we say 3, 6, 9. What is it? It's 3. So the answer here is positive 3. And remember, you don't have to check these answers, but you do have to draw Bob when you solve these equations.